Looks like he's even down a rupee, but yeah, that's it. I mean, ZCube's got a 1 rupee and a screen and a half transition lead right now on him.
Yeah, we do have that first bottle with a B in it here in the second key guard room, but not much else going on here so far.
Nice. Early bottle's nice, just so, you know, when you go through Kakariko the first trip through, you don't have to worry about checking that sick kid much later, you know, when you find that bottle nested deep in Eastern Palace and he's got your Moon Pearl, but you're off doing Aga.
Yeah, that's always a good thing to find early, so you can just route it in with your initial checks in Kakariko.
All right, so just going through the motions here. I'm sure everybody is going to be sick of this as the tournament progresses. Man, how many Zelda rescues do you think we're going to see by the end of the tournament, by the finals? It's like, what, 15,000 or something? I think that's the exact number.
When we're through the brackets, it's going to be higher than that. I mean, come on, man. Like, jeez.
It's really going to be a lot, though. God, I don't even want to think about it. That's crazy. Think how many times the silly princess will have been rescued.
I mean, just excluding, if you ignore possible dropouts, it will be something around like 1,700 times during the Swiss rounds alone.
Oh, that's right. Like the brackets is going to be, I think, like 300 to 500 matches just for the first week, give or take. Yeah. You know, game threes. Wow. Maybe my rough over-exaggeration of 15,000 wasn't that bad after all.
Or actually, if you count, like, both runners are technically saving the princess, so, I mean, that counts both times, right?
That's very true, actually. You're right. Wow. So maybe 15,000 is the exact number. I'm sure of it now.
Oh, we do see our first bomb from Cube there in the snake room.
Yeah, that's nice. Kind of means that's in that prize pack there, so yeah, you kind of expect Resi to get one too. Do you know how those work? I actually really have no idea how the prize pack works, and as far as the randomization goes between runners and enemies and such.
So each enemy is assigned to one of the prize packs, and each prize pack is also randomized. Prize packs have a sequence of 8 items, and each enemy has a 50-50 chance of dropping an item in the prize pack. So whatever prize pack those ropes or the snakes are in has a bomb pretty early.
Okay, so what they drop is the sequence is always going to be, I guess, the same, even though that sequence is randomized. It's not going to randomize within the sequence. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense then. That's a very good way to randomize it, but still make it fair. I wasn't even asking you that, so you could share information. I actually had no idea.
So we did get some half magic back there and just another 40 rupees, but that does put our runners above 100 rupees, which will help out with getting the bottle bender item when they get to Kakariko.
Yeah, most definitely. You get the 50 rupees from the Kakariko Well and Blind's house. I think that was Crystal 5 in Hera, and then the other 2 were regular ones?
Yeah,
I know I saw 5 somewhere.
Like.
Okay.
So 3 Light World crystals.
The dream. Of course, it's only a jet seed whenever you know that ice rod's been found for that last crystal you need in the Dark World for Turtle Rock, but that's definitely a good start for a quick seed.
Yeah, and we see that the tier 2 tree pool is actually 8 bombs, so now that our runners are out of escape, they won't be farming bombs too much anymore. We'd also get the blue mail in the Lost Woods.
Right. That'll definitely help out with some early safeties. Makes having to route things a little bit more difficult in dungeons if you're trying to use death warps or anything like that, if you don't get a mirror, but looks like Resi's going to do his due diligence here and head north and check the Lumberjack Cave. Just a piece of heart, not strictly required for that.
Yep, and Cube's making its way straight to Kakariko.
Yeah, I like putting off the Lumberjack play. I think that makes a lot of sense these days. You don't want to be giving up that time, especially when you could just check it when you have the boots.
Yeah, I agree. Some runners still prefer to get the early check-in, but I usually put it off a little bit. And we do see the glove in the back of Blindside.
Nice. So good for both of them that they did check that tree pool and getting their bombs. No one will be leaving that behind too early.
Yeah, and Resi also found out that the hoarder has 20 rupees, so he is well stocked with rupees, and there's even more waiting for him in Kakariko.
Yeah, all the issues with money seem to be dealt with really early. That was like 200-300 drops, so they shouldn't be worrying about rupees for the remainder of the seed.
Now, the one tricky thing with the hammer is it does make combat a little trickier, so that blue mail will help in that our runners will have a little bit less damage when they're in the combat if they happen to take hits that they wouldn't otherwise take.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, we got a glove, we got a hammer. You could just go ahead and throw a moon pearl somewhere like the chicken house here or from the sick kid, and they could be going off to Thieves Town with just 3 hearts. How much fun would that be?
I mean, it sounds like a blast, right? Unless it's a pendant, then we can just say, forget
Oh,
Thieves
no
Town.
thanks.
But hey, we do have a sword there from the sick kid, so that early bottle paying off.
Why do you need a sword in bed? I gotta think about that one for a minute. I don't quite understand.
Yeah, and a kid with a sword like that, I don't know, man. It doesn't really seem like a good situation overall.
Some people prefer teddy bears, some people prefer a fighter sword. Nothing in the library. We did get the early book. Got an early shovel as well. You know, desert wasn't boot locked, and we found a fire source. That'd be something they could complete too. Also, there's a master sword hanging out in the race game.
Yeah, I would expect both of our runners are just going to get that right away. So that actually is really nice. They have the hammer for a little bit extra damage, but the master sword is a pretty nice primary weapon to have as well.
With only 3 hearts, it makes it a ranged weapon.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to keep those sword beams.
ZZCube opting not to do an immediate save and quit at a race game like you might normally see, mostly because I think he got that shovel. He's going to just go ahead and route it in while he's on this path. So, good choice by him.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he just, because he got the gloves, just goes straight down from here. I believe it would be quicker to get to the dam if he just goes and lifts the rock. So if he can think of that, that would be a nice choice.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right by that. Opting not to do it.
That's a tricky one. It just doesn't come up often enough that it would occur to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you could have just waltzed right into desert just to see what you might find. Obviously, you can't do it yet without the fire source. You might be needing the boots, but man, that book is always a tell that there might be something in there. We'll
So
see
Cube's making his way to the dam while Resi is getting his Master Sword.
I imagine we'll probably see Cube just kind of head over to the mini Moldorm Cave. I guess after that, maybe, you know, check Ice Rod Cave, depending on how he feels about whatever gear he's found so far.
Yeah, I think if at any point he does find the Moon Pearl, maybe he changes up his decisions. But right now, just the standard opening route, going from Dam to Mini Moldorm Cave and probably Ice Rod Cave looks to be the play.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But this is somewhat visual proof of kind of the difference of checking Lumberjack versus not checking Lumberjack, because that's mainly the big difference in the screen transitions right now, or just those few extra ones that he did there. But again, to what you said, he's probably going to make up a little bit of time here by not saving and quitting. There's our Moon Pearl, so we have Dark World access in less than 15 minutes here.
Yeah, that's a pretty common theme with Hammer Uncle Seeds. You should get that Dark World pretty early.
Makes sense. I mean, you can only hide you know, those other things from you in so many spots there. So that opens up a lot of decisions for him right now and where he can go. He could just immediately start off in the Village of Outcasts. You know, you can do Hype Cave. You could just go crazy and go in the pod for no reason. I mean, this is a randomizer after all. There's no wrong decisions except for the ones that aren't right.
That is an excellent point there, Ag. Given that they're still pretty low on resources here, I would expect the early Hype Cave check to be a good option. Gives you 5 quick items, and in this particular situation, you wouldn't be that upset to find a heart container or 2.
Oh, absolutely not. Cube exiting out of Ice Rod Cave. Walking down here kind of seems like he's setting up a fake flipper. He's got the Moon Pearl now, so he can do the Water Walk as well. He's going to go ahead and damage himself here, which will put him on the furthest pixel in the transition, so whenever he hops down, he just has to hold left.
Yep, definitely makes the fake flipper a little bit easier to set up, and with all that early money, he will likely be checking Zora too, but he is opting to check the Hobo first.
It's a little bit of a lengthy swim. This was a really popular play way back in the few tournaments ago. Now you see it every so often. It's not as mainstreamed as a play as it was, just because it's very time-consuming to swim up and down here. But when you find something good here and your opponent doesn't check it, I mean, it could be a huge advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. It was especially popular in version 18, which was the last spring tournament, just because there was some nuances with that logic where those items that were just slightly blocked by like 1 or 2 items just had a huge chance of being progression. So almost every player did this, whereas now it's more of a niche play where it's still very good many times, but it's just not as common.
So Rusty's going to be giving us a Hype Cave check. I forget, did he make his trip over to the Ice Rod Cave, or did he just bail out after?
Yeah, he made his way over there, but
he did, okay.
No fake flipper from him.
Staying within the logic. Oh, all right. Cube's going to see what bottle refill he's going to get here. Okay. Burying a bottle, and we have a fire rod from the first check in the Hype Cave here. Follow up with a mushroom and more money. All right, that's not too bad.
Now that fire rod is, we haven't got that Dark World map check, but more than likely required, and also our first fire source.
Green Pendant Pod, and then we got Pendant Turtle Rock, Pendant Thieves Town, of course. And I think Misery Mire was our last big bomb crystal.
Yep, that seems right. So we do need that fire rod for Skull Woods.
And then we're gonna need that fire rod to get progression out of Turtle Rock, right?
Yeah, that's right. And we do have that Pendant Thieves Town, as you said. So that'll be one of the early choices our runners have to make: is what if they, make that dip into Pendant Thieves that they can full clear. There are 4 items there, but if there's nothing required, then it is a pretty big time sink.
I've seen so many matches in this tournament that were decided just almost specifically on that play alone. Like, well, my opponent dipped into Pendant Thieves and I didn't, or vice versa. It's a tough call to make.
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the harder calls to make in the early game, because it usually does become available early, and just whether or not you go in there, it can just shape the whole match.
Still good routing from both of them. I would say just because you're going to get that early fire rod from Hype Cave, they both elected to do it that way. When they do go to check Village of Outcasts, they can clean up Skull Woods while they're there. Which kind of seems like a tall task still, even though they have blue mail, but those spikes don't care about what mail upgrade you have, and they only have 5 hearts right now.
We're seeing the fake flipper from Resi to go turn into Mushroom. This is the fastest way to get it there to the Witch's Hut. Great play, great routing here. Usually when you get those early fetch quest items, you do like to get them checked right away, just because it seems like it very often leads to progression.
And, he did a save and quit to get over here. I mean, he didn't have the mirror, but I think this is going to be a reset play if he doesn't find anything here also. He might save it for a fake powder later.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, it kind of puts him in a tough spot, though, because at the same time, it made a lot of sense to fill up your bottle, too. So I guess you could only do one or the other. So I guess he's going to lose the mushroom and take the blue potion.
Yeah, he probably did want to get a potion with that route too, because he did just pick up that fire rod from Hype Cave, so he might be thinking early Crystal Skull Woods.
I think that was a smart play overall. Hate to take an early death in Skull Woods, but getting an early crystal seems like pretty awesome too, so...
Yeah, meanwhile, Cube has been doing this East Dark World Overworld route. He found a heart container on the pyramid and is about to check Catfish. If there's progression here, this could be a pretty key play, because it doesn't look like Resi is coming this way for a while.
Just the peace of mind for Cube is nice too, because he's kind of cleaned out this top right area. Oh, that's a flute from Catfish. That's going to be huge. Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely a big item. We know it's required because Misery Mire is required, and it doesn't really open all that much right now. It just pretty much Spectacle Rock Cave, but in the future with just a couple more items, it will really open up the world.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting turn of events for this seed right now. We'll have to see whenever Resi decides to go over and check that area. I suppose in his favor right now, he hasn't checked the Zora area, so he still has some value over there, but and having the flute just for the early mobility, that's always really nice.
Yeah, we do find the cape at the chess game here in Village of Outcasts. And the Cane of Burna.
All your Spike Cave hopes and dreams hanging out in the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because now once Cube gets those items, it puts Spike Cave in logic as well. So I wonder if he'll be thinking to make that trip up there a priority.
Cube's heading pretty far north here in the forest. I think he might be giving us a pedestal check, and we have Resi going into Pendant Thieves Town.
And the pet is dead already. Just some couch cash.
That's fine by me. If there's going to be an item trolling them, I'd rather them not even know about it.
I would get some red mail there in Thieves Town, so if nothing else, that will be a nice safety item.
Also makes Mega Man look really cool too, so I think it was worth it. Worth
yeah,
the
I think it's
dive.
worth it just for that, really.
So it looks like he's heading up to Do Skull Woods. He didn't get the blue potion that Resi got, but he did turn in his fairy, or his bottle into the fairy, so he got a fairy out of it. So he's still got a decent safety for a low percent Mothula fight also. An extra heart container, you know, in the front part of the dungeon doesn't hurt either.
No, not at all. And Rusty is deciding to make his way to the back of Thieves Town. A lot of runners will choose to check the first 4 Independent Thieves and then make a decision based on what they find. But Rusty here is making his way, probably intent on a full clear.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, he got the red mail and no mirror, so why even bother death warping out? I'll just finish it up. I've been bad at not counting how many items he's found in Thieves Town so far. He doesn't have the knowledge that there's nothing on the pedestal, so he will have to make a conscious decision if, you know, Blind holds strictly a dungeon item, whether or not he wants to do that or not.
Yeah, I know we found the map, but I don't know what else we found as far as dungeon items go. Obviously, the big key.
Ooh, mirror in the very back of Thieves Town, so that's going to be a good get from him.
Yeah, that's a huge item. It even might potentially lead him to Catfish, as you said before, because he could route in Zora with it. So not only is it a required item in this seed, but it could also get him towards another one.
Getting bodied a little bit by those Zazzix there.
Yeah, a little bit of body work there in Thieves Town, and Cube had a little bit on the overworld to the back of Skull Woods. So both of our runners are a little bit low on hearts right now. Cube is deciding to route around the outside of this room. You can get 2 hearts from under the skull pots, so that's a good way to get back a little bit healthier.
Ooh. He's really threading the needle with that Lawmaster there. It didn't seem like there was much room for him to fit, but he didn't get grabbed. Rescue was trying to open the small key door a little early in Thieves Town.
Too much key sanity.
Yeah. Okay. Blind is going to have an item then, and it looks like we have our small key hanging out in that big chest. Yeah, that has to be the case.
Yep, so one more item, and Blind has it. Meanwhile, Cube starting up the Mothula fight. And interestingly, before the match started, we saw him practicing Master Sword Mothula, so pretty interesting that it comes up really early in this match for him.
The half magic and fire rod, though, helps out quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, Cube gets his first crystal.
The rest is just a little burn of strats on blind. The stress-free way of killing him. You just activate it and follow him around. You don't have to worry about dodging anything. You just got to worry about not running out of magic.
And I don't think Rusty's going to worry about running out of bombs anytime soon.
Got the one and only 10 bomb drop, I believe. So that's nice.
Yeah, so the good news for Rusty is we know that a dip into the back half of Thieves Town is required. And there's really no telling when Cube will make that play.
What's going to work out nice for Cube's routing, though, just because of how he routed doing the East Arc World before he did, you know, Stumpy and the Did game and stuff, is if he elects to go all the way to the back of Thieves Town, he'll get his mirror and he can kind of do all those checks all at once. Oh, okay, there's the Mitts hanging out on Bumper Cave. I don't know if he even went over there to see that.
Yeah, I don't think Cube checked that. He did not have the cape yet. He'll be getting it here soon, so maybe that'll drive him back up that way. Well, we'll have to see. But yeah, he did not see that coming out of Skullwoods.
Wow, there was a ton of value over here. This is going to be really interesting how this shapes up. There's a lot of stuff you could have easily missed. We'll have to see what decisions he makes.
And for Cube, if he were to get those mitts and go into Thieves Town, he would actually have access to Desert Palace two ways. He'd have the quick way and the slow way.
You're right. Oh, man. I'm a little worried for him now. I feel like it's just so hard to route in all of that. I feel like you'd miss one at this point, but he looks like he's heading back up to Bumper Cave, so he'll see the glove over there.
Yeah, what might be bad, though, is if Rusty finds something useful here in Graveyard Ledge, I don't know when Q would come back for it after finding the mirror, so we'll have to see here in a second. But it's just a piece of heart, so no harm.
Rusty's staying in the Dark World here. I guess we'll probably see him do the Smith and Purple Chest sequence, and then go ahead and check Cave 45, which he missed. Wouldn't be surprised to even see him just dip right into Desert after that.
Yeah, he could check Bombo's tablet and jump right down into Desert. It's a pretty common route because you have your book out already to check Bombo's tablet. It just works out that way.
Or he could do Skullwoods too, because I kind of forgot he hadn't done that yet.
Also a good choice. So it does seem like Cube is electing not to go independent Thieves Town yet. That's not surprising. As we were talking about before, it's a play that a lot of runners will put off because, it takes a while to do, and if there's nothing there, it really is a time sink.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's really interesting. Just with what we've got, I mean, and what might open up later, it's hard to tell when, Cube is going to make his way to the back of Thieves Town to get his mirror, but also when is Ressi going to go check Catfish and get his flutes? The seed has just been giving him all the items that really open up the map, and these items that they will need eventually are in very obscure locations. So this is going to get kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah, if flippers are in the location that both runners can get to, that makes Ice Palace available. So, yeah, the seed really just could keep them away from where they need to go for that one last item.
Yeah,
I think we could just narrow down and get them there right away. Who knows?
That's true, too. I mean, they might just, whatever, I'll do it anyways. I think flippers would be really good for Ressi, because I feel like that makes that combo play pretty strong for him. And I think not finding the hook shot would be good for Cube because that takes a lot of the Death Mountain play out of the way. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. A good portion of Death Mountain is available with what our runners have. It's just that they don't have the combined pieces to do it. Now, Resi could sequence break up there, but I don't think that's his play style, so it might be a while before we actually see Death Mountain.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Sequence breaking the lamp when you already have the fire rod always seems like a good deal to me.
Yeah, once you do have that fire rod, it's really a low risk play, especially when you have the half magic, because then you're kind of set for Ganon too.
Wow. Sasha's hiding just a bunch of junk back there. And Resi's about to find out that that pendant he's holding is really not worth much. So Cube's about to show off some dark rooms here. Rescuing the old man the back way in the dark. And Resi will be doing his Mothula fight. He only has 6 available maximum hearts. It's still definitely not free by any means, but half magic, he's got a few safeties in the bag. I'm sure he'll be fine.
And Cube comes out with the old man just fine, only getting $5, just a nickel for your trouble from the old man.
That's what those old people always do, They think they're giving up their retirement fund when they hand you that nickel, too. Spent all the hard work rescuing them in the dark, and you can get a stick of gum out of it. It's not worth it.
Man, I don't even know if you can get a stick of gum anymore.
It's a used stick of gum.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Only
If
chewed
you
twice.
see the Quake medallion there on Spectacle Rock.
So, good information for Cube. He doesn't have that mirror that was hanging out in Thieves Town to retrieve that yet. But he got a cape and a Burna and a half magic, so I guess he'll be checking out Spike Cave for us. The race I was commentating earlier today, this was where the go mode was, the race decider. We've been seeing it quite a bit in this tournament as well.
But today, just 50 rupees for this matchup. So Rusty gets his first crystal. So he has completed 2 dungeons, but just 1 crystal. Cube has done a little bit more overworld.
They'll go back and get the one last item here. I don't even remember what it was now. They got the big key, right? Or was this the big key? We'll find out. We'll let him tell me.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
Okay, just a compass then. Hey, where's your big key at? Where did you miss it? I thought I saw you open all the chests in here. So this is our first Myra area check. See what medallion we need. If it's Quake, we already know how to get it.
But it's Bombos. And if we know
Okay.
anything, that means Bombos will be right here.
Yeah. The keys to Myra are always in the doormat.
Okay, so that's probably bad for Rusty, but good for Cube here. He gets those flippers from the Meyer shed.
Yeah, that's a little rough for him right now. That flute hanging out over in Catfish is locking flippers. Kind of what you would hold out for to before you check that area. It's pretty unfortunate. Someone's saying the big key to Skull Woods is in the big chest. That's a thing now. I like that.
Yeah, just like Swamp. I guess it seems like it happens less often than it would for Swamp, but I don't know. That's probably just confirmation bias. And Cube, making that play on Ice Palace, having everything he needs to clear it. Now, logically, he would, I believe, need the hook shot or the cane at some point. But maybe I'm wrong. I guess there's probably some very specific key layouts that could work out.
Yeah, I suppose if you had a early small key and no big key till much later, then maybe you could get away with it, but I'm not sure. I feel like at least one of those two needs to be required. I think you're right about that. This is a very aggressive Ice Palace play. I kind of like it.
Yeah, me too. It's a crystal dungeon, and if you know all the possibly required bomb jumps, you can full clear it. So we just see a piece of heart as the first item, though.
Rusty went ahead and did hammer pegs and got himself a tempered sword out of there.
Yeah, that's really nice. And if Cube makes his way there, eventually he'll wish he had done so as well.
Kind of makes sense why he didn't want to do it, just to go there and do the slow hammer pegs just to get one item when you know you'd be waiting for a mirror so you could do this fetch quest sequence. But I'm sure he'd be very happy to have a tempered sword in this dungeon because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is one of those dungeons that just every single fight, like almost every room, is easier with the tempered sword relative to the master sword, especially when you don't have the hook shot. And over there on Rusty's side, he is finding a mirror-locked bow, so that's a great find for him.
Every time they're finding these things, it's one person's finding one item over the other person. I mean, I have no idea when each of them is going to go find these. Like, I have no idea who's ahead or who's behind at this point. This is kind of crazy, trying to figure out what they may or may not do once these pieces start falling together for them.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult at this point to try to even speculate how this is going to converge eventually.
Man, Gary only shelling out 1 rupee.
I didn't think Gary was as old as the man on the mountain, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. Oh, Ether Medallion.
So we've seen both medallions that we don't need yet. Although we still haven't seen Turtle Rock, and maybe that ends up being a required dip. So,
yeah, I guess Bombos is what we're looking for collectively. If Rusty takes a dip into Desert here, see if it's boot locked or not. We'll know if we need those, and then outside of that, what we need Samaria and the hookshot.
yeah, Samaria, hookshot, yeah, and Bombos. Possibly boots, but yeah, we'll know that in a minute here, as long as Rusty's making his way towards Desert.
Got caught on the horns there of that skeleton. $20 on the desert ledge. I think we'd already seen that. If not, we saw it now, so it's fine. And Cube is making his way all the way around an Ice Palace to do the iced tea room.
And another piece of heart. I agreed with Cube's play here, but man, he can't be feeling that good about it right now. And we can find out. That's
add those boots to the list, yeah.
Wow, so 4 more items collectively, but each of our runners have to find a few more than that.
Well, it's funny with the pieces that they're each collectively missing. It's going to keep Swamp Palace off the table for both of them.
Yeah, at least for a little while. And, you know, even if Cube finds the mirror or Resi finds the flippers, it's not going to be your first choice until you find that hookshot anyway. And even then, it's probably still not your first choice.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that hookshot's probably hanging out in Death Mountain there. Cube's trying to get this bomb jump. He's just a little too high.
Yeah, there is only 1 pixel for which this works. You have to be on the bottommost pixel, and it looks like he might have been there.
He had it, and then he set it up again. Well, this is your last chance. That's it, right there. Nice. Keeping it dramatic, I like it.
Yeah, he does have a fairy, I think.
Yeah, he got that one from... yeah, you can see it now when he turned in the... when he threw it in the fairy well. So Resi's up here in the pod area. He hasn't checked these junk chests in the back here where he's going to get like 20 rupees a single arrow and something else I forgot about. A boomerang. You think he'll probably do Eastern Palace first, but I don't think he's going to find enough that's going to deter him away from dipping in the pod. I guess the hook shot would be a pretty big item, but I feel like if you're going to walk all the way up here in the Dark World, you're probably going to go ahead and do pod also.
Yeah, he'll get his crystal out of Eastern first, but there are very few items I could see that would lead him away from the dip in the pod at this point. And then meanwhile, Q found his 3rd item in Ice Palace, which was another fairy in a bottle. So unfortunately, all he's really going to get out of here is a crystal, which he does need, but quite a long clear for not much progress.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I doubt that Resi will be making a play on Ice Palace till he gets those flippers, which he's going to have to get that flute from Catfish to get those. We still are missing a few remaining items that we don't know about. So it's hard to say whether or not he's putting himself in a pretty good spot to like go mode Ice Palace whenever he, does find a logical way to make his way over there.
Yeah, it's possible that could happen, but we're still a long ways away from figuring out where the rest of these items are. And if I had to guess, I think Cube's probably closer to finding the mirror than Resi is to finding the flute, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was thinking Cube might just be in a little better spot, mostly because I think that this lack of hookshot is really going to bottleneck him to only a few remaining locations left, whereas Resi still seems to have quite a bit left to do. And he took down Cold Stare. Didn't even need to use his fairy. Good old half magic, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I believe you referred to it earlier as Harry Potter strats.
Yeah, I say that. So, Cube coming up here. I really didn't have too much to do in this area outside of Thieves Town and the fetch quest sequence.
Yeah, and you would think if you're coming all the way back here for the fetch quest that you would also route in Thieves Town at this time. But I'm apparently a liar.
Oh, I guess if you're grabbing that frog, you're not going into Thieves Town.
Looks like we're starting out with the Hammer Peg, so he will get his Temper Sword very shortly, right after he finished off Ice Palace and Cold Stare.
That's how it works. And I wish I would have done this just before that last thing I did. That's how Randomizer gets you.
Every time.
Looks like Armos is going to be holding out for us here. So Ressi is going to have to do this next room in the dark, but the Fire Rod makes it pretty easy. You can just go ahead and light either of the torches on the bottom corners. Yeah, that's right. He hasn't checked Dig Game or Stumpy yet, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense to go ahead and do these before you do Thieves Town.
Yeah, it looks like he's just clearing up his overworld checks before he commits to a pendant dungeon, which makes a lot of sense.
Might actually work out kind of good for him, too. I imagine he'll do this, come up, grab the frog, then go do Stumpy, and then at that point he'll be forced to save and quit out. He's probably going to go into Thieves Town before turning the purple chest, I would imagine. That way he can just grab it on your way out, and if he does that, he'll have his mirror, and then he can be on his way to get his bow.
Yeah, that sounds like a route that makes sense. We'll have to see what happens here.
Alright. 3 more arrows to kill this red Armos from Ressi. He'll get an item. There's those boots he was looking for.
Yeah, some nice little celebration boot dashes there. We got we got a crystal grab too. So I wonder if that's going to be enough to make him go somewhere else, or if he's going to go back right into pod here.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. Option, you know what? I guess I'll do pod.
He was thinking about it, but while he's here, it looks like he is going to make a check here on pod. But the boots do open up 2 items and a crystal in Desert Palace, and also 2 items in the North Light World. So it would not be a bad decision to go check and see what those items would be.
And we've still really seen like the bare bones of Death Mountain. There's a ton of items up there. I really think both of them are kind of holding out for. Well, I mean, Cube can't do anything over there. Ressi could, but I think he kind of wants to see if he could find the hook shot. That way he could do it all in one go.
Yep. Our runners are still looking for the Bombos Medallion, the Canis Amaria, and the hook shot, at least. And that's collectively. Each of them have a few other items to find as well.
I'm sure they wouldn't complain about a few more hearts and maybe some silvers also. Pod here staying faithful, delivering nothing but small keys to start. You can always count on Pod doing that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did not go into Thieves Town. He just went and grabbed that small chest. Oh boy.
Yep, he's doing everything except for going into Thieves Town, which I can respect, but at the same time, you know, he
it's gonna hurt.
Resti's up to 4 small keys now.
Interesting to him. He's like, I could go ahead and do Bolus Pod and Eastern, or that's what he's gonna do. All right, he's committed on ignoring Thieves Town completely, sticking to his guns, and it's gonna be punishing for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's sticking to ignoring Pendants completely because he's not going through the Dark World here. He's just going straight to Eastern Palace. So at least he has a principle to avoid the Pendants. So hopefully that will lead him back to Thieves Town a little bit sooner than it would otherwise. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, with no mirror in hand, it's a little tricky to route both of them at the same time. I guess if he did Eastern first, it saves him a save and quit. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's
kind
true.
of a crummy situation to be in.
That's definitely true. And, I mean, Eastern, we know he's only going to find 2 items. So he'll leave behind the Armos item, which is the only one that's actually worth having here.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate.
So, yeah, we'll have to see. He might... If he's faced between Pendant Pod without the bow or a fully clearable Pendant Thieves Town, Thieves Town seems like a better option, but you might make that decision to go for Pod with the higher item density potentially.
So Resi opted to not do any of the dark rooms in Pod, and he is walking out. This is going to be fantastic for him because he's going to probably do Pyramid and Catfish, and I mean that's going to catch him up with all of these items that he's been dragging.
Yeah, Resi is definitely not a fan of some of the sequence breaks. So I think that Boots pickup made the Pyramid, Catfish, Zora play, even without the flippers, just look enough better that that's what he's planning to do here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge for him. He will most likely go scout out the Misery Mire area immediately. I mean, what if there's something good in that checkerboard cave? We haven't gotten a check on it because Cube had the flute, but he didn't have the mirror.
Yeah, once Resi gets the flute, it's really going to open up this seed. All of that East Death Mountain, including most of about half of the Dark World Death Mountain, and also Checkerboard Cave, and the easy access to Desert.
Yeah, utilizing all the entrances to Desert Palace today is Mr. Recitador. And at least that'll probably finally push someone to explore a little bit more of the mountain. You won't have to do it in the dark. I think that was what was deterring him. He can do the dark rooms, he just doesn't like to break logic. So there's Catfish holding out in your flute. And now we get to see what decision Cube's going to make here.
I don't think there's anything here that he can do besides going to Thieves Town, so this is great news for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And please don't shock us by showing us something we didn't think about. Just go into Thieves Town. You'll be very happy you did it. Good old Big 20 from Zora, everybody's favorite. Well, I would say Resi finally making his trip over to get that flute has given him quite a bit of a lead in this race.
Yeah, and taking advantage of the save and quit to Sanctuary here to also check King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks.
And he was the runner that did do the early check on Lumberjack, so he knows there's nothing there that he needs.
Yeah, just a big 20 in King's Tomb.
But these are easy checks for him. He's really on his way to turn in his flute here, so you might as well just get these out of the way while you're up here.
Yep, this is nice routing. This flute activation, we do have that Death Mountain ahead of us, but I do wonder if he'll just go to the Mire area first, just so he can finish off that crystal in Desert. Plus, there are 2 items there, and he'll get the information for the required medallion.
Yeah, that's what I think he'll probably do as well. Pretty smart play. At least that way, you know, if you're up in the mountain, he really doesn't have too much left to check that isn't on Death Mountain, so he'll at least know what he needs for go mode and how long he needs to be up there.
Now, it will be interesting to see, once Cube finds his mirror here, will that be enough to make him say, you know what, I'm done with Pendant Thieves Town, or will he be thorough and clear it out?
I mean, it's only 1 item to him, and he knows that the pedestal is not required. And the mirror opens up quite a bit. I don't know, I'd probably be considering dipping, so we'll see.
Yeah, it opens up a ton of the world, so it really wouldn't be a bad choice to just piece out of here after the mirror, but it does look like he's continuing, at least for now.
Yeah, I imagine if you're going to go all the way down this far, you're going to probably kill blind too.
It does look like Rusty's making the Death Mountain play first. Also a good decision. There are a ton of items available to him up here. And he also has not yet checked Spectacle Rock, so he doesn't even know that there's a medallion.
Which is even better because he's going to be excited because he's going to have 2 of the 3 medallions and just be like, all right, I'm probably in go mode once I find the cane and the hook shot. Well, sorry, mister, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, although because Bombos wasn't in the Mire Shed, it's probably in Checkerboard Cave instead, so we're probably still okay.
I mean, what if Bombos was indirectly in the Checkerboard or in the Mire Shed?
It's
because it's hanging out in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely indirectly there.
And then your hook shots in Mire. Oh God, stop it.
I think you just solved the seed, actually. That sounds like exactly how the logic would place items.
Put this 1 item that you need to get this other item to go back into this dungeon to impartially clear it. Go back into this other dungeon you already impartially cleared. Yeah, it does like to do that. Well, I will say that was kind of a timely 10 bomb drop there for Cube because he only had 1 at the time.
You know, if I was Cube playing this seed and I got those 10 bombs, I'd probably just shrug my shoulders and say, all right, I kind of need them anyway.
Worth. That saves me the headache. So immediately going over to Graveyard Ledge, check that first.
Yeah, there is a real danger here with the South of Grove, considering he's going up this way first. He has already done the Mitz fetch quest, so he does have all of Death Mountain available to him. He might end up skipping that bow for a little bit. We'll have to see.
Important to note, though, that when Ressi made his dive into Pod, he didn't check all of the chests. He kind of was holding out from not doing those dark rooms. I'm pretty sure there were still some items in there, and I mean, we know that pods the green pendant, so that's going to be an item too. If there's something good in there, I feel like Resi is going to be hard-pressed in going back because he's already impartially cleared it too.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Cube took a 50-50 gamble as far as the convenient mirror spots near Thieves Town, and he picked the one with the piece of heart and not the one with the bow. So I really hope that's not just about the last place he looks, but it very well could be at this point. He is going to go to follow Resi to Hera here and get a crystal from that.
Resi's skirting on the middle hole there. Doesn't quite fall in. That was really close.
Yeah, Resi's just doing a little dance with Moldorm for us and gets him down, luckily, here.
Not what we were looking for in Hera, but another crystal, it's not too bad.
And it is a 5-6 crystal, but I believe the only thing we could get from the 5-6 crystals now would be the hook shot. But considering that Meyer is one of the 5-6 crystals, it also seems likely that it's there. So,
yeah, I was about to say, it's probably where it's at then. Stick either the hook shot or the boots and Meyer. They love to do it. Well, just like that, Cube is right behind Resi doing Hera, and important to remember that Cube is already full cleared out Ice Palace, so that's something he will not have to do that. I mean, Resi has to go back and finish the dungeon. We don't know how many chests that he will check once he's in there.
yeah, it's tough to say where Ice Palace will fall in the progression chain that Resi is following here. It really will depend on what he finds here on Dark Death Mountain in the couple of chests he can check.
Surely there's something up here. At least I hope for their sake there's something up here, because if it's not here, then it's in some really bad spots.
Yeah, front half of Swamp is definitely an option. Or just a Palace isn't a bad option. That's a pretty easy one.
Yeah. I just hope for his sake the only progression that he ends up finding up here being the lamp, that gets pretty ugly.
Yeah, that would not be what you'd want to find at this point. Although I'm not sure the Bombos Medallion is really the progression I'd want to find either.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Oh. Hookshot's pretty good, though. I'll take that one. That was ideal.
Yeah, so that will make, as soon as Resi goes to the Mire Shed, he'll have another crystal dungeon that he can full clear. Swamp Palace, it's not everybody's favorite dungeon, but having a dungeon that you can full clear that gets you a crystal too, let alone the 6 items inside, that becomes a pretty good option.
Maybe we'll just outright find Kena Samaria and Bombos hanging out here on Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's a good point. We are all of a sudden getting pretty close to go mode.
I mean, if Turtle Rock's Bombos, then you're not going to see a dip in there, at least from Resi.
Yeah, and Cube gets his crystal after a fun little Moldorm fight.
Alright, so we get to see what's over here in Hookshot Cave. There's our lamp.
So that was a hookshot blocked lamp, not a boots locked lamp. I kind of wish that Resi had found that first before he found the lamp, or before he found the hookshot, because that would have really thrown him for a loop, I think.
that would have been kind of interesting. You're right. Wait, where's the hookshot then? The boots are from Armos. Hey, we can see what Medallion Turtle Rock is. Bombos. Okay, that's really good for him then. Don't have to worry about that one, because I don't think Bombos or the Cane of Samaria is going to be locked behind Turtle Rock. And if it was, I'd be wondering why this isn't entrance shuffle.
Yeah, that would be very difficult to figure that one out.
All right, so depending on really what decisions Resi makes here, this race could tighten up here a little bit. If Resi decides to go into Ice Palace, that almost all but equalizes it, depending on how long it takes Cube to find the bow. I mean, with that hook shot there, you know, he's going to go do Swamp Palace. I figure if you're in the Dark World there, you'll probably head on over to K45 eventually.
Yeah, you have to figure that that hook shot is really good for Cube because it does make Swamp Palace a much more obvious option. And even if he does do Swamp Palace without the boots, it will put him in proximity to that bow.
Resi realizing he needs one more item than he probably thought he needed. I bet he was thinking that it was either Ether or Quake.
Yeah, finding out that you found 2 medallions and both of them are worthless is it's not a common occurrence, honestly. Usually the game gives you the one you need, so it's pretty odd. The bow was in the cave south of the Haunted Grove. The mirror was deep Independent Thieves Town, which Resi made an early dip into, and Cube saved for almost the last spot. So that's why Cube did not get that routed in earlier.
And because those boots were hiding out behind Armos, and Cube didn't have that bow, he's kind of been dragging those for a little while, but he did get his flute substantially earlier than Resi, so he's kind of was making up for a little bit of mobility there, but the mirror also adds quite a bit of mobility too, so really tough to say who made out the best or worst in that exchange. I think that was that both items in Desert? Am I crazy? No, I am crazy, because that was both of them.
That was the second item there. So this will put Resi at 4 crystals, but they are also the 4 fastest crystals that are in this seed. So he still has Swamp, Ice, and Mire ahead of him.
Here comes Cube, heading over to the Dark World here. We'll see what decisions he makes while he's over here. Swamp is really not that bad of a decision. South of Grove is a really, really good decision too, but we have a little bit of help knowing about that one.
Yeah, he might opt to route those in first, just because nobody loves to do a full clear of Swamp, even if it is a crystal. Maybe he'll find the boots or something over here from his perspective. So it does make sense to get these in first. Checking this in Bombo's tablet, I believe, would be his intention.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Just unfortunate for him, he'll probably end up having the full clear Swamp because he's still going to be looking for those boots, which he's not going to find in there. And, yeah, bootless full clear Swamp's not fun.
Yeah, given that Eastern Palace does, he made that early dip. Maybe if he hadn't made that early dip, he would change his decision here and say, you know what, I want to do Eastern before I do Swamp Palace. But because there's only a single item left, I think it's fairly likely he's going to go into Swamp Palace first here, especially since he's right nearby.
So Resi finishes up Landmo. Getting what you said is 4th crystal, he'll probably just head over and check Checkerboard Cave. That's really the last thing he has in that area. And then after that, he's going to have some decisions kind of weighing on his back here. Ice Palace, Swamp Palace. Oh, he hadn't been in the Mire Shed yet, but he'll get his Flipper.
Yeah, so what Ressi does next will be an interesting choice. If he does opt to do Ice Palace, that will pretty much commit him to a full clear, where we know he won't get anything progressive.
An arrow upgrade in the Checkerboard Cave. Well, all right. Well, let's see what play he decides to pick. This looks like an Ice Palace play. I don't think he's checked the Hobo yet either. Okay, yeah, that makes. We'll go up here, check the Hobo, and then probably flute back over. Well, I guess he could, you know, opt to not do Ice Palace from here. I think he might, though.
Yeah, he might dip in and check the Waterfall Cave beforehand because he hasn't done that yet either. But that's a quick check that lets you go right back to Ice Palace as well.
Nice Buttersword there in the first chest of the swamp.
Yeah, it's like the least marginal difference in your sword upgrades, but it still helps out a little bit, and I'm sure runners are pretty happy to see it.
It looks cool. It makes a cool sound. I don't know. I feel substantially more powerful from Tempered to Buttersword, even though it doesn't make too much. You're right, but I like it, so...
You know, they don't yet have the silver arrows, and they do have a Vitreous fight coming up, and that is one of the very few fights in the game where it makes a difference. So, you know, they can't be too upset finding it.
It also makes me feel good because, you know, it's pretty tough to miss your 1-1 cycle on Ganon with the Buttersword also.
You'd think that, but if you can't count the 6, it still happens sometimes. Unfortunately, I know this.
Well, I can't help you with that one.
Yeah, 6 is a very high number, Ak.
I mean, I counted all the fingers on my hand. I thought he would have been in phase 2. This game's really tough sometimes.
So we do find one of the dungeon items in the first 2 chests here. That usually is a queue if you're looking for multiple items to maybe check the left side first. However, Cube is still deciding to go straight to the back. Nothing wrong with this play. It might help you out routing with the big key if the big key is back here.
Yeah, if the big key is from Argus, this is obviously the better way to route it. However, if the big key is on the stupid left side and then you have progression in the big chest, that's basically the Swamp Palace you just need to ban.
Yeah, that's just Swamp Palace for you.
So we need more pendant Swamp Palaces and then hook shots in Ganon's Tower, please. Or in Tile Room, whatever.
Well, we find 2 bomb upgrades in that room. That not very useful.
You never know. I'm sure he's
Ressi's only up to 33 without those, so...
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe they're fine on bombs. If only this was a Blackout Bingo card, they would just be killing it right now.
Yeah, as long as the archery game wasn't on it, they'd be good.
Why, because it took Cube too long to find the bow and Ressi can't do it?
Pretty much.
Alright, so Cube fighting Argus here, you'd say he's slicing through him like butter.
just opting to do the spin strats in the second phase. Pretty quick and consistent way to do it. You just have to wait for him to come down twice.
It's a lazy way of doing it. You know what? I'm for that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not finding anything when going straight to the back here. I think there's still 2 more items inside. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the big key yet, so there might be some backtracking.
Unless all of our small keys and big keys are locked in their respective chests today. That'd be interesting to see. Skullwood's big key and the Skullwood's big chest, Thieves Town small and the Thieves Town big chest, and then Swamp's big key and the Swamp big chest.
Was the Hera key in the basement?
They did get the Hera key.
Okay.
But I'm not counting.
That's fine.
Because it ruins what I said. So it obviously doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm even talking about.
Oh, that's been me for like an hour and 20 minutes, but that's all right, man. We'll figure it out. So, Cube doing everybody's favorite here. Left side Swamp. I never even considered that big key being locked in the Swamp Palace big chest. That's like maybe makes this check like not as bad, marginally part of the time. Maybe, right?
Possibly, yeah. I do wonder here if just the fact that Rusty already made a dip in pod, if we don't find progression here on the left side, maybe that will give Cube a little bit of a leg up because he is likely to go over to Eastern fairly soon and have that entire pod dungeon with 6 items ahead of him.
Yeah, or 7, including the turn-in. The only kind of downside to that is he went into Desert, right? So he knows Desert is boot-locked. All of the items in Desert were also boot-locked, so when you get those boots, it's like 4 items and a crystal, which kind of, to me, devalues a pendant pod a little bit. Even though all those 4 items are...
Yeah, it would be a tough call.
And I mean, for him, it's even 5, too, because he could go do checkerboard on the way also.
Yeah, very true.
This going to be our last item or the big key? Or Bombos. All right. Oh,
so that's both really good and really bad for Cube.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
still think he's going to prioritize finishing off Eastern, if I had to guess.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not even thinking about going here in the Dark World. Yeah, so that's actually going to be good for him, potentially. I mean, the last item they need, the cane, could still be in pod, but at least he'll get the boots. He'll be able to get Desert done. He'll be able to check those other boot spots. Won't find anything, but he will get some more crystals out of it.
I mean, you have to think. He's probably going to go get his boots here, do Desert, then... Man, I think it'll really depend on whether or not he does the Bonk Rock location before Desert or after Desert if he wants to make a play on the cane being in Mire. And it's really not that bad of a play. You have to find the big key to begin with.
No, I agree. Especially if you're in the vicinity for doing the Desert check, it really, like, a lot of the time loss is already there once you're already in the area. So, and since you have to find that key, it's really would make a lot of sense. This is probably going to come down to either vanilla cane or a pendant pod cane. So yeah, it really, the next couple choices by our runners are going to be very important.
Wow, it's pretty dirty, man. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Rusty is with half magic here, using Harry Potter strats. Cold Stare by mashing that fire rod. He's got a little more magic there, but wants to get nitty gritty and kill him the old-fashioned way. Cube is just a few steps from getting his boots here after he finishes up the Armos Knights. Yeah, I think with all that we've seen, it pretty much has to be in Samaria in Pod or Samaria where it always is.
Yep, vanilla Samaria.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Now, I do think because Resi already made a dip into Pod, he's much more likely to look for the vanilla cane than Cube is, but I think it's a good play for both of them, honestly.
So that puts both of them at 5 crystals. Resi still has a very long Swamp Palace ahead of him, depending on how he routes it, of course.
Yep, and Cube has the boost lock locations. It looks like he's going directly to Desert. This makes sense, although it might impact his decision making as to whether to dip into Mire with those other spots, in the North Light World.
Yeah. I mean, even with what you said, most of your time getting here is your time lost, so it kind of does make a little sense just to go ahead and do it, but at the same time, you're thinking, all I had to do was save and quit the Sanctuary, and the cane was right there,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough call to make.
Well, you have any guesses on where you think it is? You think it was hanging out in Pod? Do you think Sash has it?
I think it's probably vanilla.
I'm going to go with Green Pendant. I like it. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I think you're right.
Such strong conviction, Zach.
Unfortunately, this is my mind when I play, too. Yeah, we saw some progression leading up from the bow, so those flippers really haven't been hiding too much, except for that Bombos.
Yeah, and Bombos hasn't hidden anything yet.
I will say, I don't think it's going to be in Turtle Rock, because that's not possible. I can add to this conversation, I promise. Yep, and Cube is going over here to check checkerboard. And then after that, he's going to have some decisions to make.
Yeah, maybe Cube really isn't in a hurry to kill Landmo. He's gotten both items out of Desert, and he has to be in this area to do Mire anyway. It's not really, if he doesn't do it now, it's not really that big of a loss. It does look like he's deciding to, but, you could just as easily justify just doing this right after Mire.
Yeah, it's not too big of a difference. I guess if he would have done it after checking the left or the right side of Desert, he could have saved maybe a mirror transition because he had to do it 2 more extra times. But
yeah, once he already decided to go back to the Dark World, though, it's like you could pretty much do that whenever you want.
Resi is going left side first here, so he'll be getting his Bombos.
Yep, he'll be getting through here slightly faster than Cube did because of this routing choice.
Fire Rod in hand. Just barely misses the 1 cycle there. That last Fire Rod shot was just a little too low. Well, Cube has the chance to go check 2 Bonk Rock locations. He can go head into Mire, or he can go do Pod.
Well, he is floating away, so it doesn't look like Mire's the choice right now.
I'm really nervous. I feel like this is just going to be one of those 50-50 gambles on who picks the right dungeon here. Because I do think Cube will probably go into Pod after this, and I think Resi is going to go into Mire.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cube will get to Pod a little bit before Rusty gets to Mire, but you know, Pod certainly has a lot of items there, and it takes a while to get to the items. So. And as we said before, you do need to find that big key in Mire no matter what you do. So Resi will find that if he does the dip into Mire, whereas Cube would still have to find that later.
That's true. You know, when you go into Mire and you're looking for that Cane of Samaria, that first chest you open, boom, big key. Every time.
Yeah, that's true. It makes you second guess your life choices.
Well, this could have been free if I made the right decision, but I made the wrong decision, so not only is it not free, but I'm losing time now, too. Alright, where's it going to be? Pod or Mire? Wow, he's actually going to Mire.
Well, you know, in retrospect, this might not be that surprising because he did not want anything to do with Pendant Thieves Town until he had to. So maybe it's just his philosophy to just stay away from those pendants as long as possible.
Hey, you're not wrong. I mean, he's putting himself in a position where he might last location his required items twice in a row, both being in Pendant Dungeons. I mean, I think he walked past Thieves Town 4 times in the seed before he decided to go in.
Yeah, I think that's about right. But here he goes into Mire, so this could work out really well for him.
Resi will be the one to blow my mind, and he'll go into Pod. He'll come in here telling me in the interview something about, I knew it had to be locked behind the lamp or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Oh, that's a lovely item to see. The powder.
Yeah, not exactly what you're looking for, that's for sure.
So Resi's heading into Mire. This is a race we have on our hands now here, correct? This is kind of exciting. They've literally been doing different things for how long now, and we finally converged on a common ground here, looking for that Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, same items, same crystals completed. This is finally convergence after a pretty divergent seed.
So there's only 2 items in Miter, and we've already found one, being that mystery powder item. And that's the second one there. Yeah. Oh, I found both items. I gotta leave. Nah, you might as well find the big key while you're here. It'll save you a trip. If anything, it's kind of nice, because that means when you come back in here, you don't have to worry about flipping that switch back down.
Yeah, it definitely speeds up the return visit here.
electing to check all of the chests but the cutscene chest for the big key. It'll pay off for him this time. He gets to skip it. Now he gets to hope that he's going to get a Cane of Samaya from our bat friend, else he's going to go into what's seemingly his most hated thing in this game, being a pendant dungeon.
Oh, wow. He's not even going to check the powder.
Ooh, that's pretty bold. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. That's a pretty strong play to make a gamble on something and not really seeing it through.
Yeah, I agree. Like once you make a play, you gotta like see it through to the end. It's a good philosophy to have, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, if it is from there and that ends up being the last thing he checks, then like, you literally made sure you had no advantage from it. But I mean, you know, if Samaria does end up being in pod, that's the correct play. So my good old randomizer madnism here, you know. Whatever I said earlier, I actually already forgot. Don't listen to me. Let's watch ZZCube find Samaria in pod here.
It does look like Resi opted not to find the big key after finding the second item. So that will make routing it later a little bit tougher, but he might find the cane faster, and he is going to turn in that powder right away.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it's not here. I want to see a race through pod right now, because I feel like with all the stuff that Resi's done, and just how Cube's going to end up having to route this, they're going to be like almost screen for screen here.
Yeah, that's true. I do have a thing for seeds that, you know, the fake powder is just completely impossible. I think that's kind of funny when that happens.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, putting the cane on the bat. They were tired of people doing it. Oh, there it is. Wow.
Cane is Samaria, locked by Meyer with the required double dip. Resi is in go mode.
So unfortunate for Cube too. He made the play on Meyer to go in there, get the powder, but he didn't see his play all the way through. So now he's going to end up doing all of pod and then having to do the powder next.
Yeah, it looks like Resi's opting to gear up here. He does have a play ahead of him in Meyer where he'll have to fight Vitreous without silver arrows, which is what a lot of runners like to have. Following that, he does have Ganon's Tower without silvers, so depending on how you feel about some of the strats in there, you might like to just have that potion as assurance for the next two dungeons.
Oh, Cape, Brian, Red Mail, 15 hearts.
Hey,
sword
some
that
people like some
like
potions,
butter.
you know.
No, I mean, if anything, you know, it keeps your hands from shaking. It makes you perform better. Then, by all means, if that'll be a time save for you, then do it. Absolutely. I'm not going to go ahead and publicly say that I'm just disappointed in Resi right now, because that would be very mean of me. So I will not do it. Resi still has to find his big key here, which is in the silliest of chests. Can he
He's not going to find it this direction because the pegs are going to be back up.
Yeah, you gotta go open the door. Yeah, you have to flip the pegs. There's no way to get over there.
Yeah, I think he just forgot for a second that those pegs would be back up after he left, and now he's realizing I really should have searched for the big key before I mirrored out.
I think he's gonna put this together. Yeah, you gotta flip those pegs down, Resi. Well,
Yeah,
option? No,
there
we
is
do
no
have
way.
to do it. I promise.
Yeah, all paths to that chest require the blue pegs to be down.
Well, I would like to say Silvers over here in Pod can help Cube out a little bit, but I would imagine that he's probably going to kill Helmasaur too, and that's just going to be way too much of a time loss, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I'm not sure. Although he did abandon the powder, he might feel okay abandoning the green pendant, especially if, yeah. Oh, and Helma does have an item, though. So Helma has 2 items. And yeah, he is going for the kill.
Mm. Well, it's always going to be a little gut-wrenching feeling when, you know, that Go Mode item is literally the last possible location you could have found it at.
Yeah, it really is going to be his last possible location, and they've searched a great deal of this game. Basically, the only thing they haven't touched is Turtle Rock because, well, when your Go Mode's decaying, you don't need to go there.
Yeah, I don't know why these seeds are being so nice to him lately. I mean, it did give him powder and mire for your cane, but so I say nice with, you know, quotations around it.
Yeah, there was a nice required catfish, required left side swamp.
Oh, all the way to the back of Pendant Seed Town.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I call this nice seed there.
Probably the nicest seed ever. No, I don't know. I wanted to see 3-heart hammer blind.
Maybe next time.
Alright. Time. So I think Rusty's going to show off what Gold Sword and Cape does to Vitreous. Slices him up. Even using as long as you're holding down the sword button or grabbing a wall, you don't lose magic. So he was swiping furiously there, and his magic drained way much more less than it would if he wasn't. Can save you a little bit of time too, because when this cutscene ends, you have to wait for it to refill your magic, so you'll have to refill less, but... And Cube is going to be killing Helmasaur. I guess hopefully getting silvers. I guess good for him with what's left. There's really not much left that could deter him from doing the magic bat.
Yeah, that's true. Well, with that, Resi picks up his 7th crystal.
Oh, what time is it?
Well, we're on the Link to the Past Randomizer channel, so we get to play the unofficial game. You know, unofficial game I'm talking about.
No, I don't. Please tell me more.
We, ask chat to give us a random number between 1 and 22.
Why?
You know what? No one has ever. Anyway, there are 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower where the big key could be. And you can get your guesses in the chat where Resi will find it.
I'm going with 8.
8, huh? Okay. So if they do right side first, that ends up being in the Stalfos room. Oh, we got some bombs from Sashrala. Cube does not leave one behind for him.
Wait, how did you know which one chest number 8 would be when you can't even count the 6 when you're doing Butter Sword Ganon?
I mean, Ganon's really stressful, man. Counting in Ganon's tower basement, like that's a lot easier.
You're actually right. That is 2 different completely scenarios. The apples to oranges right there. Ooh, Cube staring at his map for quite a while here.
Yeah.
I think we might know why he didn't elect to turn in his powder immediately.
Yeah, I don't think it clicked when he found it, but maybe now is... Okay, there we go.
Well, I didn't know Cube was a creeper, but that chick doesn't tell no lies.
Yeah, she's a real snitch there.
Alright, so chest number 1 has a small key. Chest number 2 has a big key, the God GT there. So if you guess number 2, you win absolutely nothing because of what channel this is on, so I apologize for that. But if you didn't guess number 2, you won as much as the person who did guess number 2 is, so you got that going for you.
So Cube did leave a bomb for the magic bat. Whenever you find go mode in the last possible place, especially when you full clear a useless pendant dungeon directly in front of it, appropriate response, I would say.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing inappropriate about it was he had 25 more bombs that he could have used, and he elected only 1.
Yeah, I mean, part of that probably has to do with the fact that you can only put down 2 at a time. It just takes so long to get.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate for him, though, considering he was the first to the powder, first to make the play on Meyer, but either forgot about the powder or was just thinking about pod instead. And again, I do not want to talk about me being disappointed in Ressi right now for taking the ferry door in Ganon's Tower. So I will not do it. But yeah, you can just go ahead and bonk over. There's 2 ferries and a full magic refill there. So if you want to be extra safe, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it really is as nice as it is for Ressi to get that big key right away. It's kind of unfortunate for Cube because it pretty much negates any chance to catch up here with the Games Tower basement. He'll have to rely on other misfortune here from Ressi to get back in this.
Yeah, definitely Ressi's race to lose at this point. He has a, well over, I think, a 5-minute lead at this point. Maybe not that long. It's pretty close. We've already established we're not very good at counting, so anything that has to do with numbers, don't hold us to our word here. But he made good work of those rooms here, so fighting Landmola 2 here. Oh, annoying quick hops. It's always the worst. Another quick hop, too. I think I'm the same one.
Yeah, that one's just a jerk.
Stocking up on supplies here. I'm sure we'll probably see him check these last 4 chests that are upstairs. Silver's finding them up here would save some time. You would hate to leave them behind when your opponent finds them and, end up losing by a second or 2 because of which.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really quick check and does save some time. So it's also, not key sanity anymore, so you don't have to risk having text boxes to mash through when you open up the chest. So it's a pretty quick check.
I thought this was key sanity and all the keys were just ended up getting rolled vanilla. What am I watching?
This is standard mode, Ak.
That's not true. Uncle didn't give him a sword.
The sword is now a separate setting from the mode.
I don't understand. This is too complicated for me.
Yeah, it really is. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
Gonna need to grab a small key guaranteed from the Helm of Sword here. He picks the right one. Grabbing some extra rupees from these chests, making sure you can finish with a high score. Almost, yeah, just a pinch too high there. That looked a little aggressive. It looks like we're gonna get some Ganon music here. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're coming up on Ganon. Doesn't look like we're gonna get those silvers, so we might be in the Ganon fight for a little while today.
All right, because Resi is almost entering the Ganon fight, we like to play a game in chat. Pick a number between 0 and 22, between how many times he will fall on Ganon. My vote is 0 because I have a lot of confidence in Resi as a player.
I think it's more fair for the runners if we maybe guess our Ganon warps. How about we do warps?
Warps? Oh, I thought we were doing the official ALTTPR. Okay, maybe I was making that up. Did I say 1 and 20? I meant to say 0 and 20.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with 10 Ganon warps.
10 falls? That's so rude. I said 0.
Yep, 10 Ganon falls. Yep, no. 10 warps is what we're going with.
He would be getting his early big key over here. Resi's gotten a couple doubles here, so I think he probably just needs one more here. Doesn't count when he shoots himself. You'd think it would. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, he just has friendly fire disabled. It's just kind of a shame. Cheater.
At this point, though, I can't imagine either of them feel like they're really that far ahead. Resi did basically everything but the Dark Maze and Pod, and ZzCube actually did just do everything.
Yeah, neither runner can feel really good about their positioning right now. They just know they gotta, execute what's in front of them and hope for the best.
Got another police cannon today. Alright, just gotta count to 6 here and we can knock out this 1-1. Look good to me.
I'll take your word for it.
And ZzCube's doing his gauntlet here. We've got Ganon in phase 3. After this, it's just going to take 12 spin slashes to kill him. We'll get to see whether he says, did you find those silver arrows in Turtle Rock or in my tower? I think it's going to be one of the two there. I don't know where else they could be.
I think that was 10 total Ganon warps.
You're always trying to take some credit, and I've already told you I don't trust your counting abilities.
I mean, I could just say it was 10, it's fine.
I'd believe you too. So the silvers were in Ganon's tower somewhere. And I could be missing some counter. I think he's only gotten one spin slash in. I think he just needs to settle down here a little bit, get in the rhythm. I know it's a little grueling when your opponent hasn't finished yet. And he does keep track of that, but yeah, this is kind of a rhythm-based fight here.
It's getting a little bit better now. He's up to 5. He's getting 2 per cycle, which is pretty good.
That was a tight corner there. But he is doing what seems to be most important, and doesn't seem like he's really getting himself in any position where he could be in danger. He might not be doing it for the ultimate quick as you could, but it's definitely very safe, and that is exactly what he needs right now. And there we are, GG to recitador. You just got to cross through this gate whenever this fanfare ends, and that'll be pushing him over to 2-1 in the Swiss round.
And Resi walks through the door and finishes with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 4 seconds. So GG to Resi. Nice race. And we do see Cube coming up on Moldorm too, so not that far behind at all.
Man, crazy to think he had a seed here where Pendant Thieves Town had all the value and Pendant Pod had literally nothing.
Yeah.
Usually just the opposite.
Green Pendant Pod nonetheless.
Yes, correct said. We'll finish up watching the end of Cube's race here. He's not too far behind, and we'll see if Recitador wants to come and express some feelings about the seed. I think he might have some choice words for that Kena Samaria placement. Get the bleeps and sensors ready.
And we do have Recitador joining us here. Resi, GG, congratulations on your win.
Thanks.
GG, man. How are you feeling there towards the end?
I don't know. I made a lot of little dumb mistakes in that because I couldn't decide what mode I was playing a lot of times.
I don't think we saw you check any random entrances there, so that was good.
Oh, you didn't see me go into the entrance by the eastern portal?
I guess not. I wish I would have.
Yeah, I totally did that.
Nice. Well, I didn't make fun of you for that. I made fun of you for a couple of other things, though.
Missed opportunity, man.
Yeah, it really was. I'm disappointed in myself. When you found the cane, were you feeling behind, ahead at that point, or maybe a little indifferent on what was going on?
I mean, I guess I felt at least, I don't know about behind, but I didn't feel like I was like super ahead or anything just the whole time because of all the like little dumb stuff I was doing. I felt pretty good about when I found the mirror, though.
The mirror was definitely a very big find for you. Your opponent took kind of the opposite route starting on the Dark World, so he had his early flute. But I think Thieves Town was like literally the last thing he did.
Yeah, by the time I got over to Catfish and Zora, I knew one of the fish had something I needed, but I didn't know which one.
I guess pretty much open for anything but the lamp at that point.
Yeah, that would have been a little annoying.
Yeah, and really unfortunate, kind of what sealed the deal for your opponent not making it is he actually made the play on Meyer before he went into pod, but he never did the magic bat afterwards. He went into pod right afterwards. So he had the powder probably maybe a minute or 2 minutes before you, but then did a full clear at pod.
I considered going back to pod and finishing it out because it was denser, but I was like, the magic bat's like a really quick check, so there's no way I'm not doing that first.
Right, yeah. He was thinking about what he needed to do after pod turned up empty, so it almost seems like he may have forgot about it for a second. I don't know, we'll have to ask him, but it was a really interesting race to watch from our perspective because the mirror was in kind of a troll spot, and so was the flute. And we really had no idea when either of you were going to make those checks.
Yeah, well, I was trying to be efficient at least and, you know, basically just clean up everything and then circle all the way around. So I just finished at Catfish, and like I said, I knew at that point that one of those fish had something, you know, something good, but I don't know, I found the mitts over there, and I have found the mirror over there, so that just made me able to just do everything.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that. You were, at that point, fire locked, so to speak. We were kind of hoping you would have found the lamp and the bonk rock spots in the hookshot cave before you found the hookshot. That would have been really interesting.
Yeah, I just ignored the, or I knew the lamp wasn't going to be anywhere behind the boots, and so I didn't go back to desert straight away because I figured I would find something, you know, up on the mountain.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Cube is here on phase 4 of Ganon. Has I think 3 spins left.
Good thing he got that fairy. I don't know if he has another fairy. I know he got the one from turning in the one in the waterfall. I don't know if there was another bottle one that had a fairy in it. But he doesn't need it, so GG to ZcCube. Well, anything else you want to talk about the seed, add to it? It was a lovely cane location.
I'm just chuckling over the fact that that is my third tourney seed with the hammer start.
Nice. It's a great start. It's like ideal. I don't know what other item you'd rather have at the start. I think hammer is probably the best.
It is. It's just kind of funny. I haven't had any of the weapons that are like more difficult to deal with.
Well, hopefully you're well practiced chasing rats around with bombs and all that stuff. We don't want you getting rusty because the only thing you get's the hammer.
Yeah, that will be a problem. I think if I get bombs, just trying to have enough hearts left, just so I can, you know, kamikaze the guy.
The best strategy. And we'll see if ZcCube wants to talk to us a little bit about the seed as well. And Korek, you got any questions for Resi?
No, I don't think so.
GT Big Key to a 22, that always feels good. 0 deaths, nice. 0 fairy revivals, even nicer. The 155 to 16. All right. And here's ZcCube, so he'll be joining us now. We can ask him some questions also. Hey, Cube, GG.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
This is just the sickest thrill I've ever seen in my entire life. But I guess I did it to myself, so I got nobody to blame but me. Shoutouts to the powder for being the first item in Mire and not the second.
No, did you forget you had grabbed it while you were in Mire? Or?
Yes I did.
Yeah, you had it about, I'd say a minute or 2 minutes before Resi, but yeah, going back in the pod, that
Yeah, it was game over.
seemingly gave away that lead that you had.
More than that.
That's all right, though, man. You know, it's definitely still a very long tournament. I wouldn't worry about it. You both played excellent. Things
No, man,
happen.
I'm not gonna, you know, hang myself over it or anything, but obviously I cost myself the race, so doesn't feel fantastic.
Yeah, you could have equally won yourself the race too if the Samario happened to be in pod though. So
Yeah, but it was not a conscious decision is the problem, right? Like I just messed up. Obviously, you check the powder first.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
We thought you were going to because you did last location the mirror. Seemingly you wanted to stray away from Pendant Dungeon, so we were like, there's no way he's going into pod. He hates Pendant.
Yeah, the first hour was rather unorthodox. I kind of got maximum debated by the flute.
Yeah, that was something that Resi didn't find till much later, but he did
I
a
kind of
very...
figured that, which was why I did what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then ice turned out to be empty, which was not great, and then I found the mirror and I figured I was super far behind at that point.
Well, surprisingly enough, when you guys converged, you were really just neck and neck at that point. You You seem to be maybe like 1 or 2 minutes ahead of Resi, but that was also because Resi had done some item checks over in pod. So
After that, I found the bow in kind of a dumb.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was like, okay, maybe I'm not screwed. And then the bow led to the boots, and then the cane was, in the middle of nowhere. So at that point, all bets were off.
I mean, the cane was somewhat arguably hiding in the most obvious place.
Yes.
It could have been.
Yeah, so much for fake powder, huh?
Yeah.
They got tired of you guys cheating, so that'll teach you to do fake powder. We'll just stick the cane on it.
Yeah, well, it would solve the problem.
Definitely an awesome race. Again, it was really exciting up at the end because, I mean, you guys definitely did your best at drawing out for, how long it was going to be until we did find that cane of Samaya, that's for sure. It was really only like 2 or 3 checks that we hadn't seen prior to it being revealed.
Yeah, I last spotted the flute, and I feel like there was at least one other thing besides the cane that I got like right near the end of what was available. Maybe the hook shot? I'm not sure.
Bombos.
Oh yeah, Bombos was pretty much late from what I had left. But it made Turtle Rock impossible as an option, so that was nice.
Yeah, both of you kind of had that same situation.
Definitely the one thing this seed had going for it was there was no way you were going to end up in Turtle Rock.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. I haven't checked the schedule yet. I'm sure we have plenty of more races going on this evening. I'll pull it up right now. I mean, basically been nonstop rando all day. It's been awesome. Oh yeah, we got quite a few races tonight. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races happening that are about to happen, and then we have like one that there are a few of them that should be ongoing right now. So keep watching the rando.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Resi or Q?
No, it wasn't too bad. I have yet to get a really crazy seed this tournament, so I'm happy about that. ZzCube.
This was probably the most free seed I've had so far. And it wasn't particularly free.
Well, that's when they're doing the randomizer stuff, right? No one likes the free ones. We like the fun ones. Those are the ones that everyone likes to commentate. It's the ones everybody likes to watch. I mean, there's a lot of people watching it, but take one for the team.
Well, it's not so bad. The Fire Rod wasn't in Turtle Rock this time. So that's a step up on the first 2 weeks.
You had a Fire Rod in Turtle Rock?
Both times. Chain Chomp Room.
Yeah, that's pretty rough luck, actually. I was like, maybe he's over-exaggerating a little bit. No, I would say Fire Rod in Turtle Rock's pretty crappy. You're not wrong on that.
I'll try to send you some of my luck, because I've had 3 hammer starts in a row, which is weird. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, baby.
I'll send some of my luck your way.
Well, thanks for the commentary. It was seemed like it was short notice. I didn't know we were being restreamed until I got home from work about 15 minutes before the match.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks for the commentary and the restream, and thanks to the tournament organizers for all of this stuff that they're doing.
You can thank Korek for the commentary. I know you're not going to want to thank me if you go back and rewatch it. I was too mean to you. I'll just apologize now.
No, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. I'm really disappointed you didn't see me go in that random entrance.
No, disappointment. I mean, maybe I said that word a few times regarding you. Maybe I did. So. No, it was an awesome race from you both. It was low health, a lot of strange situations. It was a really exciting race to watch. So thanks for putting on a good one for us, guys.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, make sure to give Runners a follow. Links are there in chat. Thank you to our tracker, Yoko Kurama 007. Thank you very much. Restreamer Hanson, and as always, thank you to my co-commentator, Ak.
Thank you, man. Thanks for putting up with me.